Hi everybody, Geraldine Rose here. We've got a mixed media happy birthday card. It's layers of pink with hints of orange over top of pattern paper. Alrighty, just a little bit of housekeeping to start. We've got mail call if you want to enter. The link is in the description down below. We don't keep the addresses, we get rid of them and start a new one each month. And my apologies as well. The Strata landscaper is here and he's just giving her with the weed eater. So if you hear that, sorry, that's life, right? This was for a birthday hop on Instagram. I knew I wasn't going to mail this one out though, because I've got another friend whose birthday's coming up. And like me, she loves flowers. I thought I would do it with some pattern paper. So I have out kind of a motley pink background that I've laid down. And I have grabbed out some of the embossing paste. I've smooshed down some ink, mixed it in with that, and then grabbed a titch of solar paste and smeared it over that panel. Normally I don't work them over that much, but I needed it to cover every single part of it. So cleaned it off, brought it to the inside of the card, and with what was left on my ink blending brush, I am just going to place it down, and I'm going to bring in like hints of the darker pink and the lighter pink and orange. And this is where your intuition really works. I didn't know why I set the main flowers up in a triangle, and then when I laid the sentiments down, which were from Simon Says Stamp, they formed a triangle, and they formed right over top of that triangle of flowers. And I'm like, duh, you already saw it because you knew what the sentiments were, and, you know, instinctively, I put the stencil down in the same manner. I'm doing an ombre. I started out with the lighter pinks. I started progressing it to the darker pinks, and I really highlighted the party with the darkest one. That's where I'm brushing off the inks at the top because I don't want it to keep blending more and more and more. And then the smaller words, you'll lose a little bit of the definition with them. But the party's a broader font, and so it could take it. We're going to flip it over after making certain that we've got the right side that we're putting that custom stamp down on. And we're going to get that on the back for her. I have to wiggle it back and forth to make certain it's set. It's got picked up all the ink along the edges. And then I brought out the splat box. Now that the paste is dried a little bit, we've got some Distress Spritz out in the pink. It's picked raspberry. And then I flipped it over and I brought out the mica with winterberry. And then I am going to spritz it with some water and I'm going to let it run. So you can see how much it's flopping in my hand. Like it's soaked. It's really, really wet and it's draining down towards the bottom. So I let it drip dry for a little bit. And then I brought back in more of that winterberry mica and I just drop splattered it on with the straw that was out of the top. And you can see that it's forming splatter marks there with it. So that's sitting aside to dry, of course. Now, I apologize as well for this. I did not show the die cut cam with the old Big Shot cutting out all of these little flowers. And it was from the fence line Flora from Alton New. What I did was I positioned it so that the die cuts were over the pattern of flowers for the flower heads, and I'm accentuating that with the pink and the orange for their tops. And then I really had to darken them up with some tickled pink because they just weren't standing out enough against the background. The picket fence that's part of that, it as well was pattern paper in a really light pink. And I started at the bottom and I kind of brought a brown ombre up across the bottom so that it would stand out. So what I'm doing is I am just layering some of the lighter colored flowers behind, and now I'm going to start working on the front ones and just keep placing them so that they cover that picket fence behind and in front. I also had the Everyday Sentimentals one from Gemini Crafter's Companion for its happy birthday. It was in pink cardstock that I then ink blended across the bottom. So again, it has an ombre on it and it has a pink vellum shadow. So we're going to place that down in the bottom third over top of that picket fence. I didn't mind that everything was bottom weighted because those tickled pink flowers are so bright. Now I had a lot left over, so I thought, well, I'll just carry the theme through to the inside of the card. So here I am, I'm gluing down some of the finer flowers on the inside. I had to put some on the left too because I had a little smudge there. There was a little part where I got a little bit of ink. So It worked, right? And of course it's me. We have to have some shiny bling bling for this. So we have these strawberry shortcake discs, and we have the lovely ombre drops from Pink Fresh, and then just a little bit of the Nouveau. I think that's strawberry coulis, just to brighten up that sentiment and make it pop a little bit more from the bottom so that it stands its weight with those flowers up at the top. And that's the finished card. So yeah, hey, I think it turned out really well. Everybody seemed to like it on Instagram. I'm going to write a nice long note to my friend, and we're going to send it up in a couple of weeks. So that's me being the change I want to see in the world, and you guys all go do the same. Be that change you want to see. Thanks for watching and subbing and sharing. We'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody.